Good afternoon. In the outdoor world, I'm known as Dr. Ken Nordberg. I'm an outdoor writer. Since about 1980, I've written almost 800 articles for many popular outdoor magazines. In the last 20 years, almost 20 years, I've been writing 2 articles a month for Midwest Outdoors magazine. Since 1989, I've written 14 books now. The first of them was a series of books called Whitetail Hunter's Almanac, 1st through 9th edition. And they were really popular books. Hundreds of thousands of your fathers and grandfathers probably grew to know those books really well. Gave me a great start as an outdoor writer and seminar speaker and wildlife researcher. Let me tell you about my whitetail research. I began that in 1970 primarily to try to make sure 2 of my children, my 11-year-old son and my 12-year-old daughter, would take a buck during their first year of hunting. And it worked. I mean, I learned enough the very first year to make it possible. And in the next couple of years, my kids were taking some of the biggest bucks ever taken by Nordbergs. One of the first things I learned while doing this research is that if I sat in a tree, I'd see many more unsuspecting deer doing normal things than I would see if I was anywhere on the ground. Now, those were days when nobody knew anything about tree stand hunting. All deer hunting was done at ground level, even bow hunting. And boy, I'd have deer right under me. They'd lay down not very far away to chew their cuds and things like that. And it was a wonderful time to be learning about the actual behavior of whitetails before and after and during hunting seasons. Well, because I was having such good luck with elevated stands, I started building platforms in trees. And when the kids started hunting, the total disregard of whitetails for hunters in trees at that time was astonishing. It isn't that way anymore today, that's for sure. But at any rate, I started in my seminars at sport shows and hunting clubs and in my magazine articles that I was writing at that time, encouraging people to hunt from platforms and trees. I was one of the early pioneers of tree stand hunting and an ardent advocate of using elevated stands to hunt whitetails at that time. So that was one of the good things that came out of it. But there were others. For example, by 1989, I was ready to write a book that was the first to accurately describe the whitetail rut. The whitetail rut is characterized by 5 separate stages of breeding-related activities and 3 different periods of 2 weeks of breeding, and all of this occurring during more than a 4-month period, beginning around the 1st of September and ending about the end of the first week in January. Most people don't know that. That's something new. And imagine a knowledge of all this, how it would, how you could improve your whitetail hunting success. Now, there were other things we learned as well. For example, in the 1970s, realizing that little deer have little hoofs and bigger deer have bigger hoofs and the biggest deer have the biggest hoofs, I started wondering if we couldn't learn to identify whitetails by the lengths of their tracks. And after quite a few years of measuring and weighing deer and aging them, that kind of thing, I learned that you very definitely could identify deer by tracks alone, seen or unseen deer in your hunting area by track lengths alone. I was the first, because of my studies, to introduce this concept in whitetail hunting. My 15th book is almost ready to publish. It's my 10th edition of Whitetail Hunter's Almanac, and in that one I'll be introducing the best and most productive way of hunting whitetails I've ever known. It's really good for taking older bucks. In that time, I've taught a lot of hunters in schools. I used to teach a local college, and finally I started teaching them in the woods up in northern Minnesota. Every spring I'd have a buck and bear hunting school up near the Canadian border, and we'd have 2 days of classroom and 2 days in the woods in my own hunting area. I taught hundreds of hunters at those schools to become much more successful at taking older bucks and bears, big trophy class bears weighing 350 pounds or more. That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that a lot. Since then, my son John and I have created a number of DVDs from the hunting schools and from hunting, for hunting mature bucks and bears, which are becoming more and more elusive every year. And these are up-to-date videos. They're very good. In my seminars, I've presented hundreds of them all across the United States, and I always enjoy it. I really enjoy sharing what I've been learning all these years with other hunters. There's another book as a prelude to my new 10th edition of Whitetail Hunter's Almanac, which will introduce this new hunting method that I call opportunistic stand hunting. Wrote and we published a new book, a little book. It's a 95-page book entitled Dr. Ken Nordberg's 2016 Pocket Guidebook to Whitetail Tracks Fall and Winter, long title. And it's just 95 pages, and it's only priced at $4.99. But I'll tell you, it's a priceless little book. My research is ongoing. I've been doing it, well, it's my 46th year of doing that kind of work. And a lot of things I'm telling you now, we've only recently learned. One of the ways we've learned some of our new hunting techniques is by watching wolves. We have lots of gray wolves in northern Minnesota. And what we've learned from them has really been valuable in developing, well, I've introduced so far 5 new hunting methods in my books and in my magazine articles. And the 6th one is on the way. I've started to write a little bit about it in Midwest Outdoors, but the complete description, how to use it, everything you need to know about it will be in my next book, my 10th edition of Whitetail Hunter's Almanac. But your first step, probably a good step before that, is to have that track book. You have to know everything that track book tells you in order to use that hunting method. Well, this should give you a pretty good hint of what you learn and what your fathers and grandfathers learned all those years that they've been following me and being good fans of mine all these years. I don't know of anyone who's ever done the kind of research, hunting related research that I've been doing. And I know no one who has spent 45 years in developing new and better hunting methods like I've been doing. I'm not bragging. I'm trying to help you become the deer hunter you've always wanted to be. So, if you need to know more about me, or my books or videos, anything I have like that, go to my website, The doctor part is just DR, Dr. Nordberg, and Nordberg is Nordberg, Dr. Nordberg on deerhunting.com. You'll find everything you need to go there. The book's like my latest bear book, which is full of videos. If you want to be a black bear hunter, that's the book you got to have. You'll find everything you know about my books and videos and sign guides, which we haven't even talked about, and my new little track book. And pretty soon, before long, you'll find everything you need to know about my 10th edition of Whitetail Hunter's Almanac as well. And my website is an encyclopedia of deer hunting information. Until I hear from you or I meet you in person, I wish you the very best deer hunting this fall, and good luck.